If you're considering selling your house in El Paso this year, 2025, this is going to be the best, most valuable video you are ever going to see. And if that proves to be the case, don't subscribe to the channel, call me, email me, and please give us the opportunity to earn your business. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So if you're selling your house, thinking about it, you need to understand the market conditions. And while there is a lot of crazy stuff happening right now in the economy that's yet to play out, I'm just going to kind of tell you how the market is right now, but check out the YouTube channel and our Instagram because we're going to be talking about what some of these implications that are happening right now might have on the housing market. But let's just talk about the housing market as it is right now, April 2025. I've got a couple of ways to describe it for you. So on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the worst time to possibly sell your home, 5 being the absolute best time to sell your home, we're right there at a 3. It's not terrible, it's not great, it's good, satisfactory. Here's another way to think about it. In 2021, right when kind of COVID hit and blew everything up, it was about a 5 out of 5 for sellers because interest rates dropped. That's what happens in pandemics or recessions, things like that. So interest rates came down below 3%, so everybody could get approved for a loan, which they did, and homes sold for way over asking price. There were multiple offers. I mean, you could have taken like 3 pictures with your cell phone, slapped it on the MLS, and it would sell for like 20 grand over the asking price. That was a 5 out of 5, okay? So we're not there right now. Now interest rates are about twice that. Now interest rates are around 6.5%, which still historically speaking is actually pretty good, but it does mean that there are less buyers that can qualify for home loans, and inventory is starting to kind of pile up, so those buyers have a little bit, they can be a little more picky and selective, and so homes are not just flying off the shelves. Well-priced homes are selling for the asking price, and we're not seeing a ton of multiple offers. So one more way to kind of think about it is that when it was nuts there in 2021, El Paso, there were about 12,000 homes that sold that year, whereas last year we saw about 8,000 homes. So how's the market? We're right there kind of in the middle. This is the norm. Good, satisfactory, a 3 out of 5. So that's really important to understand, and it's really important for your real estate agent to understand so that they can help you make the best decisions. So now let's talk about how do you sell your house. So the most important thing when you sell your house, and there are some other very important things that we're going to get into later, but when it comes down to it, the most important thing when selling your home is the price. There's just no way around it. The worst thing you could do is underprice the home. Why? Because you're essentially taking less for the asset than it is worth. So you're leaving money on the table, which absolutely nobody wants to do. Underpricing your home, absolute worst thing you can do. The second most worst thing you can do is to overprice the home, because when you overprice the home, you're not fooling anybody, and unfortunately for you, the home is going to stay on the market for longer, and you're inevitably going to end up lowering the price and probably taking less money than if you would have just priced the home right. So overpricing the home is somewhat common, and you might be saying, well, hey, why wouldn't I overprice my home? I want to get the most money I can for this thing, right? But if you overprice the home, and let's say you find somebody who just like, they're clueless, or they have the inexperienced or shady agent who doesn't say, hey, this home is overpriced, right? They don't do the research to actually realize that it's overpriced. You find a buyer to get under contract on this thing. 2-3 weeks later, the lender is going to have an appraiser come out there. The appraiser is going to do the homework, and the appraiser is going to say, hey, wait a second, this home isn't worth what you're about to pay for it, and then the brakes are on, the whole deal is going to fall apart. You're going to have to sell it for likely what it's appraised at. So you can't underprice the home, all right? You're going to leave money on the table, and you really can't overprice the home because you're going to drop the price. It's going to stay on the market forever. People are going to be like, what's up with this thing? What's wrong with it? And you're going to end up losing money and not making as much money as you could. So price is absolutely everything. To sell your home, you have to price it right. How do you price it right? No, you don't look at the Zestimate, all right? No, you don't ask your neighbors what they think it's worth. No, you don't just make up a number, dream up a number that you think it might be worth. You lean on, you trust a real estate agent who has your back, right? You trust somebody who knows what they're doing, who has experience selling homes, and can tell you, hey, we've done the research and this is what the best price is. So to really drive that point home, let me give you an example, a couple examples of some recent homes that we've listed and sold very, very quickly because the homeowner listened to our guidance and they priced it correctly. First one is 4204 Perth Drive. This home is located on the west side, but on the other side of Interstate 10, not in the Upper Valley, but kind of around there. Nice little 3-bed, 2-bath home, just over 1,700 square feet. This home, we priced at $284,000. Within 3 days, this home was under contract with a cash buyer. It closed and everybody was happy, all right? Now, if that number is important, okay? 284. At 289, 290, 295, getting up to 300, that would not have been the case. That home would have stayed on the market for significantly longer, and it probably would have started pulling in those low ball offers. But since they priced it correctly, the home got 3-4 offers that were all right on the money. The reason that we went with the offer we did is because it's cash. Cash is king, doesn't have to appraise. That home went under contract. The homeowner could make their kind of next life decisions from there, knowing that that home was under contract. Get rid of all this stress, move on. Okay, the next example is 249 Gonzalo. This is another home on the west side. This one, I love this story because we priced this home at $375,000, 4-bed, 3-bath home. This home is on a quiet cul-de-sac, has an epic backyard, RV parking, really nice condition, an extra bonus room, $375,000. This home sold and was under contract within 1 week. What's super interesting about this one is that the home directly across the street that basically is about the same size, same year, doesn't have the nice backyard. They were listed at $389. Now they've been on the market for over 2 months and they've dropped their price to $369. This is a perfect example of somebody who, for whatever reason, decided to overprice their home. Then their neighbor came in. We listed at $375, which is a fair market, good price, under contract in a week, and now that neighbor has been on the market for over 2 months and they've lowered their price by $20,000, and I'm sure all the buyers that are looking at it are like, why is the price drop on this, all right? So definitely a beautiful example of what not to do, and then of course 249 Gonzalo that we got under contract in a week, a great example of what you should do. Now, one more example, but take this one with a grain of salt because this home is what we call a unicorn. A unicorn home is a home that is amazing, whether it's because of the location, because of the home itself, but it's not only an amazing home, it's actually at an amazing price. So this home is 6203 Franklin Hawk. The reason that this home is a unicorn is because of a couple of things. One, it's a 1-story home with 5 bedrooms, so perfect for a bigger family. Number 2, it has a pretty much brand new swimming pool in the backyard. And number 3, the backyard abuts up to the Franklin Mountains, and so the view is unbelievable, okay? So this home was priced very, very well, and within 1 weekend we had an over asking accepted cash offer for this home, okay? So this home sold for about 15 grand over the asking price. Why? Because the sellers listened to our advice, they priced this home very well, and here's a ninja tip. Now, a caveat for the ninja tip. Most of us don't have a unicorn home. I hate to tell you, but most of you, including myself, we don't have unicorns, all right? Our home isn't that amazing that so many people want it. This home was a unicorn, but ninja tip, if you are one of the lucky folks who do have one of those unicorn homes, price the home a little bit under the fair market value. That's gonna create this frenzy of buyers. Everybody gets excited about it, and guess what happens? You get multiple offers and you make even more money. So that, I think, is three great examples of the importance of pricing your home accurately. Okay, so what's next? What do you, as the homeowner, actually need to do to sell your home? Here's a couple of things. You should complete any reasonable repairs, okay? These are things like, let's say your HVAC system isn't working. No one's gonna buy a home if the AC isn't working or the heating isn't working, okay? If you have any kind of plumbing or electrical issues, if you have like a leak at a sink, that's not gonna excite anybody, and once they get under contract, they're gonna do a home inspection, they're gonna identify the leak, and they're gonna ask you to repair it, and that's a reasonable repair that you should complete. But if you complete it beforehand, then you keep up this idea of the value of the home, right? So if you complete reasonable repairs before you list, it's definitely going to be to your advantage, because if you don't do any repairs and then the inspection report comes back once you're under contract, the buyers are going to start chewing you up. They're going to want to lower the price. They're going to want you to pay for the repairs, and if you don't, they're likely going to terminate the contract and walk away and find another home to purchase. So complete reasonable repairs, okay? The other thing is that you should do a little bit of prep work, okay? This includes things like cosmetic issues in the home. So let's say that you just love pictures of your family or whatever it is, and you've got pictures hung all over the home. You should take those pictures down to declutter the home, make it look a little more minimal, and then patch up those little holes. Do a little bit of painting. If there's any kind of like painting issues that make the home kind of look like it's an eyesore, you should do those, right? You should make the home look as attractive as humanly possible. And another important aspect of that is increasing your home's curb appeal. That's one of the really interesting things about 4204 Perth. We're going to show you a picture from when this person first bought the home a couple years ago, and the front yard was in pretty rough condition, as was the backyard. Before this homeowner got that home on the market, he did all of the landscaping in the front, put down rock, made everything look nice. They did some painting on the exterior of the home, cleaned up the backyard. That made a huge difference. Curb appeal is really, really, really important. It's the first impression whenever a home buyer comes and looks at your home. So between completing reasonable repairs and doing kind of curb appeal, cosmetic fixes, it's going to make a huge, huge difference, and that is certainly your responsibility. If you put $2,000-3,000, let's say, into those types of repairs and cosmetic issues, trust me, you will get that money back, okay? So now let's talk about how much does it cost you as the homeowner to sell your home, okay? What we do is we identify with every offer you receive exactly what your walkaway number is. What's your walkaway number? Your walkaway number is how much money are you going to make if you accept this offer. And this goes into essentially basically what the sales price is minus your what we call closing costs. Your biggest closing cost if you purchase this home with a home loan is going to be whatever the loan payoff amount is. So if you bought a $300,000 home with a home loan and now you owe $250,000, well, you're going to have to deduct that from the sales price that you're offered, right? Because whenever the home closes, you're going to have to pay off your existing loan. That's likely your biggest closing cost. Beyond that, you're going to pay anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000, depending on the size of your home, for a title insurance policy and other kind of minimal recording fees to the title company, warranty, transfer fees, things like that. And then, of course, as I'm sure you are aware, I hope you're aware, you're also going to pay real estate commissions. This is a whole story in and of itself, but essentially, typically you're going to pay 3% of the sales price to the listing agent who helps you sell the home, and it used to be that you would also pay another 3% to the buyer's agent. You would pay their commission. However, since a recent National Association of Realtors lawsuit that they lost, now that buyer's agent commission is negotiable, okay? So there's a lot that can go into basically any offer that you receive, but the things that take money out of your pocket, essentially, the loan payoff, again, $2,000 to $4,000, title insurance policy, and miscellaneous fees. Listing agent commission, typically 3%. Buyer's agent commission, now negotiable. And also, some buyers are asking for what are called seller concessions, which means they're asking you to contribute additional money to help them pay for their closing costs. So this is a whole ball of worms, and this is where having a really great agent really comes into focus, because a great agent is going to help you make more money rather than give up additional money. So, how long will it take to sell your home? If your home is priced right in this market, it's going to take roughly 1 to 3 months to sell your home. If you need to sell sooner, well, we certainly have some strategies to help you do that as well. So, speaking of strategies and speaking of things that we can help you do well, let's talk about the importance of a real estate agent. And I like to categorize real estate agents into 3 different buckets, okay? First, you have the snakes. Next bucket is the fish, and the next bucket are the sharks, all right? Let's start with the snakes. We call them real snakes. The snakes are those agents who could care less about you. All they care about is themselves, and they are going to do everything in their power to do the least amount of work, manipulate you into getting what they want, try to sell your home as quickly as possible, even if it's for less money, just so that they can get paid and move on to the next one. This is the epitome of being what's called a non-fiduciary, because when you enter into a relationship with a real estate agent, you create a fiduciary relationship. Fiduciary means that me, as your real estate agent, I'm working for your best interests, and real snakes I don't think they even comprehend the idea of working in somebody else's best interest. All they understand is working in their best interests, okay? So, are the real snakes out there in El Paso? Of course they are, right? So, but they're certainly not the majority. The majority of real estate agents fall into the fish bucket, okay? These are real estate agents who maybe do on average 3 to 6 transactions a year, and so they're not very experienced, okay, which means they likely have minimal negotiation skills and strategies, and they're good people. They're trying to do right by you and by themselves, but they're in a position, a lot of them, where they really need that next commission to pay the bills. If you're a real estate agent and you're only closing 5 deals a year, you're not making a lot of money, and so once you get under contract, oftentimes those agents, they're not going to really go after the other side. They're not going to go after the buyers. They're not going to go after the buyer's agents because they don't want to tank the deal. Even though it might be in your best interest for your real estate agent to aggressively go after the buyer, they're not going to do it because 1, they probably don't have the experience or the confidence to do so, and 2, they need the commission check, right? So I'd say the majority of agents fit into that fish bucket. Okay, the final bucket is the shark bucket, and this is the bucket that we fall into. Now, I know that sharks have a bad reputation, they can be scary, but sharks are the ones out there who are in control, let's say, maybe it's a pleasant way to say it. Sharks are the agents who understand the art of negotiation. I cannot tell you how many times I've talked with other agents and they have just given me information about their client that doesn't serve them, it serves me and my client, right? But they don't understand it or they don't care. It's somewhat mind-boggling, quite honestly, with some of the agents that I've dealt with in the past. However, being a shark means that basically we are going to negotiate strongly, aggressively on your behalf, making sure that you get the absolute best deal. We're also going to make sure that the pricing is accurate. We're going to get aggressive on marketing, actually paying our own money to do the marketing. We're going to do do everything that possibly can be done to get your home sold. Of course, you have to trust us. That's part of this fiduciary relationship, but the shark is what you want, okay? If you want to maximize your profit, you want an agent who is a shark, and of course, that is myself and Alex. So, in a nutshell, right now, pretty darn good time to sell your home. Like I said, a 3 out of 5, okay? Please continue watching the channel because we are going to update you as different changes in the economy start to roll out. If we slip into a recession, that's not going to be so great. On one hand, interest rates will probably come down, which is good for buyers, but it also means that home prices might start to slip as well, which is certainly not good for homeowners. So there's a lot of different scenarios that could play out. So, you know, stay posted to the channel and we'll try to keep you abreast of all of those things. But there's a lot of great reasons to sell. Whether you're upsizing because your home just isn't big enough, whether you've got the opposite problem where you've got this big old house and maybe all the kids have moved out and you want something a little bit smaller, maybe something a little bit more affordable, whether you're moving from one side of town to another, maybe you're PCSing someplace else in the country. There's a lot of reasons why you might want to sell, and now is actually a pretty darn good time to sell. If you have any questions, like I said in the beginning, call us, email us. We'd be more than happy to help you understand what your home might be worth, how quickly it might sell, and any other questions that you might have. So, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.